balanced siya every mealtime that we eat. And one of the most present concerns of the Filipinos right now is the very low vegetable intake. In fact, we are consuming the per capita consumption according to the expanded National Nutrition Survey conducted by FNRI in 2018 mentioned that per capita consumption is less than 400 grams na recommendation ng WHO. So imagine we're just eating less than a cup actually of vegetables per meal. That's how low our vegetable intake is. And through the years, there is a declining trend that was observed based on our vegetable consumption. And the second thing that most Filipinos actually, the issues of most Filipinos in terms of diet is a very high sodium consumption. As we all know, the WHO is rallying for the decrease in sodium intake by 2030. But in the update report that they have presented on October 10, 2022, the consumption of Filipinos are actually around 4,000 milligrams sodium. That's equivalent to 10 grams of salt or 2 teaspoons of salt per day versus the recommendation of WHO of 2,000 milligrams sodium or 5 grams of salt equivalent to 1 teaspoon of salt. So imagine,
Kaya ba yun?
imagine, right? It's very, yung recommendation really is, it's really low. But if you look at our, Filipino cuisine, kasi we really love yung mga alat, salty, sausawan,
I just want to get back to that. It's 5 grams. That's
5
for
grams.
the day.
That's for the day.
That's not just for a serving, guys.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make that clear. That's already for the whole day.
Yes. Imagine, di ba, minsan pag kumakain tayo ng hilaw na mangga, if
Isang
we
kain
eat
lang
a
yun.
ripe mango, how much salt or how much bagoong are we putting in our plates? Or kapag meron tayong, kanya, ano ba yung mga fruits nilalagyan ng asin para mas umangat yung tamis, di ba? Sometimes, when we eat watermelon, we put in, we have salt pa kasi para mag-amplify yung sweetness niya. But in reality, that adds up to our sodium consumption. See, even fruits we're putting in salt. So, imagine how much is the burden in terms of sodium consumption. And our consumption, it's double the WHO recommendation. Imagine 1 teaspoon salt recommendation. Our consumption, 2 teaspoons salt.
Tapos magtataka pa tayo kung bakit tayo nagmamanas.
Exactly! Yun, those are just the two of the main issues in terms of Filipino diet.
Alright, so again, our vegetable consumption, medyo all nuts. It's all nuts. Alright, and aside from that, we're so guilty of it. Na may sausawan. Grabe. Okay, so because of these two issues, how does this have an impact on our health, Dr. Jansen?
Okay. High sodium consumption has a lot of detrimental effects on our health. Although, don't get me wrong, because sodium or salt is essential for life. Our bodily functions won't be able to, work without sodium. Okay, we'll die. We won't be able to breathe. We won't be able to move. Okay. However, the problem lies in the excess consumption, and not just excessive consumption. It's prolonged excessive consumption. Okay. So some of the detrimental effects. Number one is you will retain water. Okay. Once you retain water, you'll have increase in your blood pressure. Increase in blood pressure is hypertension. Now, hypertension is just, it's an illness. However, it's a symptom of a bad lifestyle. And hypertension also leads to a lot of diseases that we have nowadays. I'll give you an example. Okay? Top 5 causes of death among Filipinos. Number 1 is heart disease, heart attack. Number 2 is stroke. Both of those diseases are rooted in hypertension. Okay? The top 2 causes of death. Number 3 is cancer. Now, how did cancer went in the topic of high sodium consumption? Because processed foods, especially processed meat, is a carcinogen. Okay? It's already been touted by the WHO as one of the carcinogens that causes colorectal cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, etc. Aside from that, high sodium consumption also causes an increase in your risk of stomach cancer because sodium is a gastric irritant. That is why, are there Koreans here? That is why Koreans have high rates of stomach cancer. Why? Because of their preserved vegetable consumption. Okay? Yes.
Ah. Oh, I didn't know
Did our audience
that.
guess the food right? It's kimchi.
Because you think it's good.
Yes, because of the probiotics, etc.
Ay, naku, I need to tell my husband that.
But it's...
Kasi sobra siya sa kimchi. Okay. Hindi pala maganda na
Yes, it's not,
masobrahan.
yeah, it's not good, no? So aside from the diseases that I have mentioned, what else? If it's not your heart, if it's not your brain, then it would be your kidneys. Your kidneys will also be destroyed because of the high blood pressure. So eventually, if your kidneys are destroyed, you'll go into dialysis. And all of us here know that if you're on dialysis, the quality of life is not good.
And this is already a lifetime thing. It's
Yes,
not
it's a-
something that you just have to do a few months, forever na siya.
Correct.
Oh my goodness, nakakatakot ka naman, Doc. Tinatakot pa
Did
naman kami.
did everyone get scared? Okay, there's a way to counteract this, no? So what I mentioned is excessive consumption of sodium for a long period of time. There's a way to counteract this. It's potassium. Potassium counteracts the effect of sodium. So if your potassium intake is a lot, okay, your blood pressure will be fine.
So kailangan na pala natin sabayan ng saging.
Yeah, potassium. And speaking of bananas, where can you get high amounts of sodium from? It's fruits and vegetables. It's practically all plant foods. So again, we go back to what Ma'am Eloisa mentioned a while ago, what Ms. Debbie mentioned a while ago. It's high consumption of fruits and vegetables. Not just fruits and vegetables, it's also legumes and whole grains. Yeah.
Thank you, Doc Johnson. Okay, parang mamaya I have to talk to you some more. No, but really, when we hear of diseases, a lot of the time, parang hindi natin masyadong iniisip yung diet. Yeah, it's a part of it, but I think more often than not, we hear that it's because of stress, unhealthy lifestyle, like our vices, mga bisyo, but diet is actually a huge part of it. So it's a good reminder. All right, now as a consumer, there are also challenges for us. A lot of the time, the intention is there, yes, and the thought is there. We want to be able to eat healthy, pero one, it can get expensive, and also two, it can just be time-consuming and difficult. Like, it's not so easy to have to always prepare food. Tapos, sometimes I don't know how others do it na breakfast, lunch, and dinner, iba yung kinakain nila. Ako parang isang dish that's already for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Diba? So, parang just the food prep can get very difficult and can be overwhelming. So, Miss Ron.
Okay, so we feel you, Iya. We at Ajinomoto Philippines understand the struggle and difficulties of consumers. And true to our brand promise of Eat Well, Live Well, what we aim to contribute to health and improve eating habit is by way of practical ways.
Mhm.
So for example, with the issue of high sodium intake, we launched the Bawasin campaign because we did a study and then we found out that one of the important consumer insight is that whenever we think of, I cannot use salt anymore, so my food would taste bland. Wala nang lasa, hindi na masarap. So pag hindi masarap, syempre hindi kakainin. Pag hindi kakainin, sayang, di ba? Parang yun yung worry lahat ng mga mommy. As much as possible, the moms would want to feed the family delicious food. So yun yung iniisip. And then they're thinking that it's not easy, I don't have information, I can't do it, as you mentioned, one dish, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Okay, but actually it's just a simple hack. For example, instead of using 1 teaspoon of salt in your cooking, you can partially replace it. So half a teaspoon of salt and then half a teaspoon of umami seasoning. And maybe you won't believe it, but you can actually reduce your sodium intake by up to 40% already. It's because the sodium content of umami seasoning is only 1/3 of that compared to the table salt. And with APC, we have registered nutritionist dietitians, we have a culinary team, so we actually develop more than 100 less sodium recipes. So this is something that consumers can easily recreate at home,
Yeah.
even home cooks.
Mhm.
And you, Iya, can attest to that. Dun sa Eat Well Live Well episode natin, we featured less sodium recipes and they are very easy to cook, they're nutritious and very affordable.
Actually, I love it because you can check them out even on IG of their cook community, Ajinomoto cook community. It's the recipes that you find there, and even as we were making them on Eat Well, Live Well, Stay Well, but it's like, I would have to go and say, ito lang ba talaga yung ingredients? Is this all it is? And then when we'd eat it, it would taste so good.
Yes, because nutritious food or nutritious meals doesn't need to be very complex. So it can be just few ingredients, it can be affordable, but what's important, you serve it delicious.
Yes.
And then on the struggle that perhaps there's no available products in the market, so I'm very happy to say that very recently we launched the new Ajinomoto less sodium. So it's a first seasoning in the market that's actually 30% less sodium compared to other seasonings. So now there's an option for consumers, so they can enjoy the same meaty gisa deliciousness for stir-fried vegetables because we have to increase our vegetable intake without worrying on sodium.
Thank you, Ms. Rob.